Good evening. Welcome to Current Affairs. Today we'll be discussing about AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act. Special powers must be given to our security agencies. Special powers will give them more powers to provide more security, and that will enhance the security of the nation altogether. But if those special powers are misused, then what happens? Obviously, that will be very dangerous to that particular area, and overall, that will be very, very dangerous to the nation itself. So, this is what exactly happened with respect to the Armed Forces Special Power Act. So, the intention was good, the idea was good, in order to curb the militancy, in order to curb the terrorism, in order to curb the insurgency. So many powers must be given to the armed forces so that they will be empowered, and the security of India will be enhanced and it will be protected. So, with that intention, Armed Forces Special Power Act has come into the picture. And unfortunately, what happened, though this particular act was giving certain good results in the beginning, there is always an accusation that this power is being misused by armed forces. So, killing some innocents, and which went unnoticed for a quite long period of time. And under this particular law, protection has been given, and no charge sheet will be filed against them. No charge sheet has been filed. And along with that, we have also seen some of the atrocities against the women. So these are the poor and innocent women, and they do not know where to go and where to give the complaint. And under the shield of this particular act, they are being protected. So then, how far it is justiciable? Should that act continue, or should that act has to be repealed, or should the act has to be amended? So, like this, there were so many questions for a quite long period of time. And majority of the people in the country, we were waiting for the judgment to be given by the Supreme Court. Though so many petitions have been filed with the government of India, so to repeal this act, at least to amend this act, no action has been taken by any government so far. Even today also, even the armed forces are protected under this particular act. Clear? That is the point number one. And we'll try to see when it comes to some states like Manipur, Jammu and Kashmir. So these are the states where this particular act is being implemented, and majority of the northeastern states rather, not just Manipur's. So when deaths are happening, is it not considered as the violation of the human rights? So when the human rights are getting violated, how do you protect it? Then what should be done? That's the reason why various committees have suggested various recommendations. And every committee has said that you have to file FIRs, and they should be brought to the books within a period of 3 months. They must be suspended immediately. Even when the accusation is there, the action has to be taken. So these are the various demands that were made, and no action has been taken so far. If you can remember the incident of 2012, Nirbhaya incident that happened on December 16th, 2012 in New Delhi. Unfortunately, that girl passed away, and later, by coming under the pressure of the people, the government of India has constituted a committee called J.S. Verma Committee, Justice J.S. Verma Committee. He was of course, he is no more now, and he was the former Chief Justice of India. He passed away later, and a committee has been appointed, and the committee was given 30 days of time to give certain recommendations. Apart from giving the recommendations for strengthening our criminal procedure system, the committee also submitted one recommendation that when it comes to the atrocities against women, even the armed forces people should not be spared. But even after that one, no action has been taken by the government. But now the Supreme Court has used certain strong words against the government with respect to the Armed Forces and the Special Power Act. Special powers must be given, but under certain limitations, especially when it comes to the atrocity opinion of the Supreme Court. I'll open the document and I will show you the points. Then we continue our discussion. Look at this. So this is Armed Forces Special Power Act. Read this one. These type of statements will appear in the UPSC examination in the mains. Accountability is the facet of the rule of law, is an established legal principle. Meaning is simple. When you speak rule of law, there accountability has to be there. Very, 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 very important. If the accountability is not there, then transparency will not be there. In the absence of all these, there is no rule of law. But the rule of law is a basic principle in the Constitution of India. And that is being violated. Persons are being killed. Persons are being violated. But even then, they are not getting any justice, which is a very, very unfortunate on the part of the principle called rule of law. Supreme Court ruled that the armed forces cannot escape investigation for the excesses in the course of discharge of their duties, even in disturbed areas. Disturbed areas are those areas which are affected by militancy or terrorism. There also you cannot get excuses for the excesses that were performed during the discharging their functions. In such notified areas, security personnel will enjoy statutory protection for their use of special powers. Normally, under normal circumstances, these powers cannot be exercised. No special powers, nothing. But these are the circumstances where the Special Power Act will come into picture in the disturbed areas. Only those areas, the armed forces will enjoy some special powers. Next, going to the next line. And the Supreme Court was referring to many deaths that occurred in Manipur. Right, see here, whenever you talk about Manipur, one important person will come to our minds every time. Iram Shanu Sharmila. She's a person who is fighting for the rights of the people in Manipur. For the last 16 years, she's on fasting. You might have seen her photographs, always seen with the tubes inserted through the nose. She's not taking, this solid food. She's being given liquid food. Many times she refuses to take even that one. And her demand is only one, that AFSPA must be repealed. That should be repealed from Manipur. That is the, this demand of this particular lady. Right? I have a photograph of that particular lady. I'll show that photograph after some time. Now, look at this. Look at this. The Apex Court has said that the provisions of the Armed Forces Special Power Act and the purported immunity it offers to the use of the force, even to the extent of causing death, are not invincible. Meaning, so you're not bothered, nobody is bothered about the atrocities that are happening. Such legal protection, especially in a state that has been under AFSPA for nearly 60 years, has to yield to larger principles of human rights, and no allegation of the use of excessive or retaliatory force can be ignored without a thorough inquiry. Whenever the armed forces are using excessive force, retaliatory force, that should not be ignored. This is what the court said. This is the requirement for both democracy and for the preservation of the rule of law. Kindly remember, for the civil service examination, rather in any examination where you are going for the descriptive type of answers or in the interview, you need to remember these points. Highest priority has to be given to the democracy and also to the rule of law. There is no meaning of democracy in the absence of rule of law. Take it for granted. There is a growing body of opinion that AFSA should be repealed or amended. In most of the cases, even the FIR is also not being registered. FIR means First Information Report. Look at this. The court has acknowledged that additional powers have been given to the armed forces to deal with the terrorism effectively. In the beginning only, I told you, additional powers must be given, right? Otherwise, it will become very difficult for them to deal with the terrorism. And with that intention was good, but when it comes to the operation, see, it is going in a wrong direction. Look at this. So this cannot be an excuse for extrajudicial killings. Look at the strong words that are used by the Honorable Supreme Court. And whenever such allegations surface, they have to be investigated regardless of whether the person concerned is a dreaded criminal, terrorist, or insurgent. Whomever the person may be who has been killed, right? If such allegations of the extrajudicial killings have come into picture, it should not be excused. It has to be investigated. Look at this. The court has reminded the authorities of the circumstances in which the use of force, even to the point of causing death, is immune from the prosecution and Army's own list of do's and don'ts while operating in a disturbed area. Obviously, they have own do's and don'ts, what they are supposed to do, what they are not supposed to do. Everything will be decided by the Army only. And the court has rejected the notion that every person bearing arms in a disturbed area is ipso facto an enemy. Meaning, just because of a reason somebody is carrying an, a weapon, it should not be treated that he is an enemy. He may be carrying the arm, meaning the weapon, for some reason or the other. And how can you kill? How can you take the retaliation like this? The occasions call for an investigation into the allegations of the enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. People are getting disappeared. Where are they going? People are being killed. These are extrajudicial killings, especially those are documented or partially probed. It must give a momentum to the demand for the repeal of the AFSPA as the necessary to end the impunity. Look at the background, please. Look at the background. A high power commission headed by the retired Supreme Court Judge, Mr. Santosh Hegde. Hope you know this name, Mr. Santosh Hegde, sorry, Justice Santosh Hegde. He was there in the news for quite a long period of time, some time back. In Karnataka, he has been appointed as Lokayukta. And he created tremors in the politicians. He was one such fantastic judge as far as India is concerned. Only constitution, nothing else. Rule of law. He was a person who was fighting for a rule of law. And he was a person, when he was appointed as Lokayukta by then government, at that time it was a BJP government. And Yediyurappa was the chief minister during that time. So during that time, Justice Santosh Hegde has been appointed as Lokayukta for Karnataka. And he was looking into the issue that is related to the illegal mining in Karnataka. Karnataka is one state where so much of illegal mining will happen, right? And he probed this matter very seriously, very thoroughly. And the report of Lokayukta will be submitted to the governor, and the governor will place the report before the state legislature. This is a procedure. Clear? Lokayukta will probe, that's it. He will conduct the investigation, but he cannot take any action, right? And what happened? He submitted the report to the governor. Governor placed it before the report before the state legislature. So there, so many important heads' names have been included as far as illegal mining is concerned. And one of the names is the chief minister of the state at that time, Mr. Yediyurappa. Immediately, so lots of hangama has been taken place in Karnataka, and this Congress party has forced. Congress party was there in opposition at that time. Congress party has started putting pressure on BJP that this man has to submit the resignation letter. Initially, Yediyurappa said, "I don't submit the resignation letter." But later, under force, he submitted the resignation letter. Very next day, Yediyurappa has been arrested and thrown behind the bars. Behind the bars, and after 1 month, he has been released on the bail. Even today, also the case is still going on. Right? All this happened because of the report that is given by Lokayukta. So very few people will be there in the country who work without fear and favors. Clear? And country needs more number of people, right? So the same person I'm talking about, Justice Santosh Hegde. It was constituted in January 2013 to probe 6 encounter deaths in Manipur. Other members was the ex-Chief Election Commissioner J.M. Lindo, and other senior officer was there, police officer. And this commission was set up by the Supreme Court trying to make the controversial Armed Forces Special Power Act more humane, and the security forces should be more accountable. Obviously, it should become more humane, and they should become more accountable. That's the basic idea. And the committee suggested that fixing a time frame for 3 months for the central government to decide whether to prosecute security personnel engaged in extrajudicial killings or unruly behavior in insurgency hit areas. Meaning, within 3 months, it should be decided by the central government. And the commission also said law needs to be reviewed every 6 months. Right? You cannot wait for a long period of time. You need to review. If there is a necessity, make the changes to see whether its implementation is actually necessary in the states where it is being enforced. Clear? Nowadays, what's happening? Every year you are reviewing it and you are extending it. This is what is happening in majority of the states. Clear? Especially in the Northeast, this is happening. Right? But you have to review this very periodically, every 6 months, and understand the situation, whether extension is necessary or not. And it is not that no action can be taken at all. Action can be taken, but with prior sanction of the central government. Action can be taken, but central government is not giving the. So Justice J.S. Verma also commented on the same thing. I told you, when it comes to the armed forces, if the allegations are serious, if the allegations are related to the this violating the women, then they must be punished very seriously. This is what the suggestion given by Justice J.S. Verma committee. It happened in the this early 2013, but it was not taken into consideration. And hopefully, we will see that Armed Forces Special Power Act must be strengthened in favor of the people. Let's expect that our armed forces that are working in the disturbed areas must become more humane, and they should become more accountable for the acts. And hopefully, India will come out of the situations where the innocent people will die unnecessarily. Extrajudicial killings are not at all permitted. Fine. And with this positive note, I'll be ending this and see it. And today, most of you have taken up this examination. That is a grand test number 1, right? That's the point number 1 taken. And what I'll do is that now after some time, I will upload the key. I will upload the key. You just check up, right? You just check how many marks you got. And tomorrow morning by 8 o'clock, I will upload the key along with the explanation, right? Some of you who joined late today with respect to registrations, who joined late today, this I'll be sending you key with explanation to you tomorrow, so you may go through that. But kindly see here from 24th onwards, from grand test number 2 onwards, so you have to be very clear and very strict, stick to the time, and don't try to avoid it. Clear? Am I clear? And wherever you have the doubts, you please revise those topics. Clear? The time is very, very short, and you have to revise, and you have to strengthen yourself. Again, I'm just giving you another one hint. As I told you earlier, don't read any new material. Don't read any new material, no new books, nothing. Is that okay? Revise what you already read. Clear? And look into only those areas for which you do not know the answers. Am I clear? Don't take so much of pain. Don't take so much of strain. Clear? Tension will not give you the results. Take it for granted. The more you are cool, the more will be the chances for you to get through the examination. Clear? And all of you who are there with me for the grand test, hopefully you have to clear this examination. Clear? So thank you so much for being with me this evening, and I'll see you in the next class. Good night.